Guten Abend. Hello again. I'm going to jump right in it today and talk about how you can see everything as one at any moment. So, one way to explain this is that every moment is this moment, meaning that no matter how far you are into the future, you will still be in that moment connected with everything at the same time, forever and eternally. It doesn't mean that things don't change, that things don't evolve, but even through that process, everything is still connected at the same moment, despite time. Which brings me to my next point that even though it may be whatever time it is right now, and so far into the future it will be that time, but there's no distinction between what time it is now and that time in the future to say that it is not this moment now or this moment then. Those moments, no matter how much you want to spend looking into the future, are still connected by being in the moment at that said point in time and at the current point in time. And I want to draw this illustration to demonstrate what I mean by that. So I'm going to switch the camera here. Evidently I can't do that. Alright, anyway, so I will show it once I draw it here. So what I have here is one sheet of paper, and this sheet of paper represents the entire universe. It's not to say that the universe is finite, but just for the sake of illustration, this whole paper represents our entire universe as we can understand it currently. I'm going to begin by drawing a spot on there. Doesn't necessarily reflect this is where it actually is in the universe, but this spot represents our solar system. And as you can see, it's not very big, but that isn't the point. But as we know, the solar system is very large in and of itself, but also the universe obviously is very large in and of itself. So that gives us a representation of that. I'm going to now draw a couple different other illustrations on here just for the sake of adding more to it. Okay. So what I have drawn now are just a couple representations of galaxies. We know that galaxies are very large, especially compared to our planet, and still our planet is very large compared to the size of just our bodies. And to further illustrate, let's say, for example, depending on your belief on this, it's not necessarily the point of this, but let's just say that in one of these galaxies, there's a species of intelligent life, and they've labeled their year, they're currently in the year 30,078. And then we're currently in the year 2017, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but just for the sake of illustration, you can put in any year you want, it doesn't matter. So if we look at this, what we have is clearly two different years for two different species of life, yet they exist on the same moment, in the same moment. That is the point, is that no matter how we perceive time, no matter how far we go into the future, and when we look in the past, no matter what we do to look in the past, that we are still in this moment as ourselves. And who we are in this moment is what is most important. You can say that, oh, well, in the future I'll be this person, or I want to get towards this, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to be natural. It has to be who you are. It has to at least be in that realm of that. You can't force something to happen to say that at this point in the future, as long as I do this, then this will happen. Well, maybe, but at the same time, if it's not really who you are, it's not going to yield what you really want out of it. So part of the point of this is to say that, yes, looking to the future is important. Having goals and aspirations is important, and it's fine. But it means nothing unless you can be yourself as best you can be, that you can be who you are in each moment anyway. Because when you get to those points in time in the future, you're still going to be who you are. If we take a look again at this illustration, it may seem like that civilization is so advanced because they're in the year 30,078 and we're in the year 2017. And it could be true, but it may not be true. The point to that is that who we are is timeless. It has nothing to do with you have to reach this point in time to be at this level of something. Who you are and yourself and naturally going through life, those changes happen on their own because you're doing that. Because you're in tune to that and you're living it and you're doing it. And that's what causes those changes to happen, because those changes can happen at any point in time. That's happened with me many times, where randomly I will have a realization on something, and it's wherever it is. So there's no real set point in time where things have to happen or should happen. It can happen anywhere because we are always in this moment, so to say. You can call it whatever you want, whatever name works for you to say this moment. It can be very confusing because it implies that at this point in time, which doesn't necessarily pertain to the future, but you can call it whatever you want, whatever envelops the idea that no matter what you're doing at any point in time, no matter how far you look ahead, you're going to be who you are no matter what through all of it. But you have to be willing to be that and understand that and do that and live that throughout your life in order to understand how these things are timeless, how these things really are all at one, connected at the same time, no matter how we dissect it down to any of the finer details. And that's fine. It's fine that we understand our universe in the way that we do through science. But no matter how something changes or evolves, at whatever moment in time, it's still going to be that connection to that moment forever and ever. Just as we've all been born into this world at a certain point and we don't deny our existence, yet there was a point in time where we weren't alive, and yet we are. And that doesn't make us any more or less significant than at the point in times we were here before we were born, or the time that we will be not here when we pass on. You're always who you are. You're always yourself, no matter what the time is of it, no matter how old you are, no matter how much you plan for your future, any of those kinds of things. And some stuff does take time, but you know that naturally that, okay, it takes time to grow a plant. It takes time to cook a meal. But the naturalness is always there, but you have to be willing to be in tune to that. When you're in tune to that, and you can know that and understand that and realize that for things in your life, you will have many different kinds of realizations on things, and things will naturally change and evolve on their own, no matter what point in your life you're at, no matter where you're at, no matter what time it is, no matter how old you are. And that's what I wanted to illustrate here with this on a grander scale, that think about how large our human bodies are sitting on this planet, and how many people are on this planet along with all the other things on this planet, and the vastness of the universe, and also that there are other things out there in the universe, and that, who knows, there may be other intelligent life forms out there too who are more advanced or less advanced. But nonetheless, if you can imagine in your mind, or if you draw it out, however you want to do it, that no matter what, right now we all share that same moment forever and ever, and we always will, no matter how much is born or how much dies. We will always have that connection, no matter where anything is in the universe. And that goes beyond our perception of time, which is not to say that time doesn't have its place. But if you can really wrap your mind around that, you can really expand your perspective on yourself, but also how things really work in the world, and how you can be yourself and understand how you can be yourself and go through life in those positive ways to live yourself every day, no matter what time it is, what day it is, and to know that if you want to do something, then you go do it. If it is something you do not need to do, then you know not to do it. If it is a big change you want to make, you know naturally, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Or if not, then that's what you know naturally too. And by being connected to that idea of everything being here in this moment, always at the same time, it doesn't make things seem as mysterious or as large, even though they still are. But no matter the size or the scale of something, it's all part of this moment. And however many minutes into the future it will be, that will still be the case. And no matter how much you look back in the past, that is also the case for that too. This specific realization for me was something in my mind where it just clicks and it makes sense, and once you really realize it on your own, if you haven't already, you will know that change in your thought process when you really truly realize it on your own. I can't make you realize it through me just talking to you here, but this will help point more towards it. I hope. That is the intent. I believe it does. But you also have to be willing to want to understand that in your mind and in your life, and you can only do that when you're ready to. And there's no time when that is set to say that that's going to happen. So don't worry if you're not sure when it could happen. It can happen for anybody. It is nothing special that I have realized this specific kind of thing I'm talking about now, because anybody can realize it. It's not subjected to a certain person or anything. Just take some time to think about it if you haven't already, or if you aren't sure that you have or not. Just keep thinking about it, and you will see a change in your own life when you're able to really see how all of this is connected at the same time, no matter what you're doing throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout the month, how far you look into the future, that you are yourself no matter any of those points in time. And there's nothing that can really, quote, hold you back from feeling that way, because even as large as the universe is, it's still all connected at the same time. Thank you for listening and watching. I hope this was informational and fun, and I will see you when I do another video. Thank you.